Good morning, y'all. VANSILK. Common sense with VANSILK. I'm rocking my man Hercules Bradley t-shirt. Lambert houses up in the Bronx where the people are fresh. I'm gonna start a whole playlist on my YouTube channel, Common Sense with VANSILK. It's called The Miseducation of Hip Hop. And I'm gonna do interviews with artists because, unfortunately, because of Billboard, oh well, hip hop is dead. No, let's clear it up right now. Let's get it out. I've been around since 1977 in this culture we call hip hop. Okay? Hip hop is not dead. I'm gonna tell you what's dead. It's the rap music that y'all say is dead. Okay, you have to excuse me because I had liver surgery this week. Rap music of a certain time period, yes, it's dead. Now, one thing I'm not gonna do, I'm not gonna disrespect any of the artists. I'm not gonna disrespect like I said, I'm not gonna disrespect the artists. I am not gonna say anything bad. I'm not calling nobody out because everything I do has gotta be positive. But the culture of hip hop has a long history. A very important part of the music world. Now, they got trap music and this music and that music, and they want to incorporate it with hip hop. But y'all took the word hip hop and y'all destroyed hip hop. Now, hip hop, of those who celebrate the culture, you still got the DJs, you still got the dances, you still got the graffiti, aerosol art, and the other thing that combine the culture. But record companies don't sign though. I mean, we saw, oh, you got a DJ Khaled album. Okay, cool. But let me explain something to y'all so we can separate this, because this is definitely the miseducation of hip hop. Ever since social media popped up, record labels have gotten rid of the real music people. Everything was about analytics and followers. Everything was sexualized. The female rappers, everything was about twerking, showing their booty to the audience, and the audience got excited. That's that generation. The language changed, the verses changed, the wordings changed, the slangs changed. But you can sit up here and try and tell me that hip hop is dead? No, we might be the lesser percentage of those who still celebrate this culture, because it's still a culture. And see, the intelligent level is not there in the record labels. There's nobody in the record labels that was around when hip hop started. When you look at radio stations across the world, I'm talking about, let's do on the commercial side of radio. There's only two people that was there before records. And I'm talking about not DJ Red Alert, who's been on the air as a DJ for 40 plus years. But let's go to SHA'ROCK and Grandmaster Cass, who actually have conversations and interviews. They're the only two that's on radio. They rock the bells. And I can go to every radio station across this whole world. Ain't none of y'all was around before records. You don't know and never experienced the culture of hip hop. You never experienced the park jams. You never experienced to see the formulation of how the groups got together and what it was like. But now when you take it to these record labels over the last 20 years, and then we just signing whoever. We sign our artist could be hot. I'm gonna sign my man. My man, go sign this man. There's no artist out here in today's world, unless the record companies, let me put this water away, stop this noise. Unless the record companies is investing millions of dollars to put an artist out there. You can't even promote an artist's album or even critique an album before they want to fight you. You got the academics and the Casanat and them who work with record labels, and the record labels, they can break a record or make a record. Let's just say this. It's the record company's fault. Y'all go to TikTok and give somebody to have a viral record a record deal. Now you know damn well, no kind of artist training, don't know how to do interviews, artists disrespecting each other, calling each other out, and you want to call that hip hop? Now there was some good records. I seen Meg Thee Stallion before she even got signed, how she was spitting. I seen Nicki Minaj when she was down with Fendi on the Smack DVDs, how she was spitting. Cardi B, in the beginning, was spitting. Y'all converted them to sexualize them, dolled them up, put them out, get the award shows, to get them awards, and you put them in the forefront of those who do this on the lyrical side, who are an artist, who take their craft serious. If you look at the majority of the artists today, we know more about their personal life and all the BS that go on in their life than their music. And then you want to sit up here and say rap music is dead. It's been dead. And like I said, I have nothing against none of the artists because I'm from a different generation in hip hop. But then you figure and wonder why is the Sugar Hill Gang, Furious 5, and the Rob Bass and the Dougie Fresh and them are still working. They may not be working on a big level. They may not be doing the rolling out and all these big festivals that the record companies are in bed with to put their artists on there. I have nothing against that. But you know one thing? I look at some of the radio DJs knowing better to say, hey, there's a separation. There's a difference. And if they can't do it, then we have the miseducation of hip hop. When you go and look at an LL Cool J perform, or Rakim, or KRS-One, or Doug, or Slick Rick, or Rob Bass and them, you see a difference. They perform. These artists today don't even want to perform. They're getting so much money. Your record labels are responsible for this. It's like, where is the intelligence level in this music industry to say, we're going to re-record this song in 20 years? There ain't no song that came out that's going to be re-recorded in 20 years. Because nobody made anything of substance. You made it for the Generation Z, Generation Alpha, the Millenniums. You made records for them. Yeah, you got acts that you'll love, NBA Youngboy and all these acts. They go out and that's their level of artists that these young kids today know. They wouldn't know the history. Or like, well, who was Houdini? Or who was EPMD? Because y'all shun these artists out. All these artists are putting out, Rakim have new songs, LL had an album, including Sweetie on his album, Fat Joe, all these artists that still work are making records. But you know what the problem is? Your radio stations don't want to play their records. Oh, well, it's the demographics. So you mean to tell me that these artists shouldn't have their new music played, but yet in the rock and roll sector, in the country music sector, their music get played? Tony Bennett had an album with Lady Gaga, and he was 80 plus years old. So the miseducation of hip hop is a long line of people trying to say and act like a lot of this didn't happen. There's nobody that could teach, if there's nobody at no record label that could teach anybody about the culture of hip hop. Nobody at no record label can teach anybody because you was not there. You was only there in your time period of when you come along. Rap music is dead for the generations in the last 20 years. all these artists think, oh, I can go on tour and I can do this and I can do that. Listen, when you had the Master P, Cash Money versus No Limit the other day on Versus, that might be the last of what you're saying. And those guys understood hip hop because they grew up in listening to hip hop. But then as running a record label, they had to coincide with the change of generations. But if you go back and listen to the early Hot Boys and early Lil Wayne and Master P and all that stuff, it was part of hip hop. They stood in allegiance with having a DJ on stage and the DJ get his little part, and they, dances, whether you're a B-boy or B-girl, you still got dances, is all part of it. Then y'all will use graffiti parts to post on stage or your backdrop, but it's not promoted. So when you sit back and look at, oh, well, Billboard, there's been no artist that charted. Who cares? Billboard don't know nothing about hip hop. You can't find one person in Billboard that can say, hey, I was around when it started. No, you wasn't, because you're too young. And one thing we know, we ain't gonna hire nobody 60 years old that have knowledge about the culture of hip hop. You will not give them a job. You won't. Because y'all don't care. It's pump and dump. Yo, we got that person right there. Let's put them out. Let's push them. Let's get them on all of the festivals. 360 deal. We control everything. Keep them drugged up. It's a pump and dump. Y'all are the ones, the reason why rap music in the record company side is dead. Y'all killed it. Y'all killed it. And then if somebody come with some real material, y'all don't know what to do with it. Kendrick Lamar threw everybody off track. But will he be able to do it again? Before that, Drake was blazing. Where's that gonna go? Because these younger kids that's coming up now, they don't care about a Kendrick Lamar. I'm talking about these young ones that are 14 and 13 and 12. They don't care about a Kendrick Lamar or Drake. They don't care. We got to know more about the stupidity that goes on in these artists' life and not about the music. You can't sit up here and have somebody say, well, I like so-and-so album, but this song I don't like and that song I don't care for. They can't even do that no more because now y'all want to sit up here and physically attack them so people can't even have their own opinion on what they like and dislike. And then I'm sick and tired of seeing all you people at the radio station interviewing these artists knowing damn well that shit is garbage. But that's your job and that's your paycheck. It's no different than certain NBA players working at the CNNs and Fox Sports and all that. In their mind, they're like, yo, man, if I really want to tell this player what's wrong, I'm going to tell him. That's why I like Charles Barkley, Shaq. And then I see all the independent people that do have their shows, like Gil Arena and people like that. They can speak out freely because they're not controlled. When you're controlled, it's the bullshit. And like I said, I don't have nothing against none of these young artists because these young artists is for this generation. But who's going to teach them about the culture of hip-hop? They'll make up shit. They make up awards. BET don't know what to do because they got rid of key people that knew. MTV been gave up. What did we have? So when it comes to the culture of hip-hop, oh no, the culture of hip-hop is good. For those who believe in the culture of hip-hop, it's good. It may not be monetarily accessible as it is where you have the new artists that just come out pumping dumps. I call them the pumping dumps. Look how many of these artists have been arrested. Look how many has been murdered. We had more murders in the last 5 years with rappers than we had in a whole 50 years I'm talking about murders. We ain't talking about people dying natural causes. Murders. Young artists dying in their early 20s, getting killed, beefing with each other. And y'all give them too much, like they stars. But it also comes from the social media of TikTok. Oh, I'm an influencer. Who are you influencing? How are you you a TikTok star to who? So if I were to sit up here and say, I've been in hip hop all my life, I may not know every song that these artists made over the last 10, 15, 20 years because it doesn't interest me. Just like when I say, you'll ask an artist, name your top 10 rappers or MCs, it should be broken down in decades. I've been preaching this for 2 years, 3 years. Break them in decades. You can't expect a Sexy Red or Ice Spice to know anything about a Grandmaster Caz or Kumo D or Melly Mel or any of them guys or what they've done because they wasn't even born. So why can't you break it down into 10 years here, 10 years there, respectfully, with 10 years you want to pick? Or they talk, here goes the Mount Rushmore. Really? Y'all need to just leave that one alone. If you would have asked me, give me your 10. Okay, from what year? 73 to 83. Okay. I'll give you mine, who I tell, 73 to 83. Let's do 83 to 93. 93 to 2003. So we can have a respectable conversation. Jadakiss could say, well, I'm going to take 93 to 2003. Jadakiss don't know nothing about 80, 73, 77, 70. What do he know? Nothing. Nothing against him. What do he know? And this is where I call it the miseducation of hip-hop. You're continuously to do the same shit over and over again. It's just disrespecting, just not even the pioneers and legends. You know, when I look at Nori and effing on Drink Champs, when you bring a certain criteria artist up there that's been, okay, let's say if you brought Grandmaster Flash up there, you should have somebody from his generation that could also help with the conversation. Because I'm not saying Flash did it, but somebody can get up there and say, well, they could just tell you anything and you'll believe it because you wasn't there. Let's say right now, they want to interview, let me just pick out somebody. Let's say you want to do their Fearless 4. Effin and Nori, you wasn't around in the Fearless 4 era. So there should be somebody that was around that can help your conversation, help your story, bring things up. But nah, y'all don't want to do that. And then if you let a lot of these artists tell you, and I'm just saying anybody, either you got the lying ears, the crying ears, and then you got the pioneer. And then I'm looking at certain people now, everybody's not a pioneer. I'm going back to the beginning. Everybody, how you a pioneer? What did you pioneer? So that means the groups before you, before records, what are they? You cannot take a person, a Grandmaster Flash and the Fearless 5 statue or the Funky Four with SHA'ROCK in them or any of them groups and you're going to take somebody that came out 10 years later and put them in the same category as a pioneer? Everything was already set and done. When the records came out, the blueprint was there. Everything involved as technology moved on, but the blueprint was there. Everybody doing the same shit that was done before a record. So how are you a pioneer? You just a copycat. You're a duplicate. That's what you are. But you'll sit up there and say, no, I'm not really a pioneer. I'm a legend of the game of hip hop. But now you want to be a pioneer. No, you're not a pioneer. But what did you pioneer? But like I said again, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. This is mine. And again, rap music of the record company generation, yeah, that shit is dead. Because y'all can't make the money. How many more artists that y'all gonna find to get over on? Because a lot of them look like they're autistic, slow. And I hate, there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying, it seems like, they on drugs. You could look at them, they're doing anything. They will do anything for the money. And y'all know it. So y'all done took something that we created in the South Bronx and in the borough of New York that everybody copied all around the world. And 52 years later, you're sitting up here saying rap music is dead or hip hop is dead? No, it's the rap records that y'all put out at these record labels that y'all want to put part of the culture of hip hop. That's dead. Get it right. Because you insulting those who put in a lot of work when it was just the mud and the dirt. There was no foundation. You insulting them. You insulting me. You got a bunch of people that got jobs that don't know shit about the culture of hip hop. I be seeing all these panels. Y'all got professors and doctorates. How you gonna have a doctorate in hip hop? Okay, you could be a professor, but you're not gonna be a professor in what happened in the culture of hip hop. You don't count. So when they saying rap music is dead, no. Your job at your record label that y'all been dealing with the last 20, 25 years, that's dead. And the artists that you signed that have no sustainable ability. So this is just the beginning of what I have to say. The miseducation of hip hop, common sense with VANSILK. I'm gonna give it to y'all. Y'all have a blessed day.